Hello. So let's get back to one of my newer book series. It's a three-part book series, The Adventures of Susan MeeLing, Scuba Diver Extraordinaire by Reverend MeeLing. Susan MeeLing, Scuba Diver Extraordinaire. Reverend Susan MeeLing, Reverend MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle, a few other names. So, in volume 1, page 115. Oh, what a weird little coinky dink. And though I did state in a video that I wound up deleting the end. I have not given permission to certain individuals for things, and I don't have patience for childish games. So, going back to more important things such as the ocean and scuba diving and how I survived landing where I did. Several years after, because the prior discussion had to do with Baptist Camp Lebanon, and already having gone over the different areas, I learned how to swim and play with the water. Several years later, I was moved to Crystal Lake, Illinois, because my biological parents, meaning mainly my biological mother, thought that that would be the ideal place for someone like me to move to, not Chicago. After growing up in New Jersey and going to New York. So there were a bunch of high schoolers there who told me that I was being snobby because I didn't want to go swimming in Crystal Lake. And it really didn't have to do with the fact that I swam in the ocean beforehand. I mean, realistically, at Baptist Camp Lebanon, that was a lake. It didn't feel right to swim in the Crystal Lake water. Personal thought. However, when going to Ridgefield Crystal Lake Presbyterian Church, which is at the border of Ridgefield and Crystal Lake, they had done a Habitat for Humanity trip. And so I don't actually need this for the explanation. So I had gone with them on the trip, and one of the things that annoyed a bunch of the people that were in the van with me, I think it was like one of those 12 or 14 person cargo van style things, was when the semi-truck drivers would drive by. I was like, hi. And a bunch of the males got pissed off at me. I was like, what's your problem? And they were like, you don't know who those semi-truck drivers are. And it's like, really? Like, I know you any better? Really? Really? You want to, really? I mean, at least, like, at least they can, like, smile instead of, whatever. And those specifically, it was the males. It was specifically the males who were like, Susan, you shouldn't do that. And it's like, don't tell me what to do, boy. Do what I want. And there was a particular male who was dating one of the females at the church who thought that that would be a good idea. And then he was like, hey, I was just trying to make her jealous. And it's like, I didn't even realize that you were doing anything other than annoying me, Brett. I mean, seriously, other than, like, annoying me, didn't realize that there was anything beyond that. And there were a few different times when some of the adults from Ridgefield Crystal Lake Presbyterian Church or Rickle Pick for short, had to like get in between and be like, no, 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 you need to stop. You need to stop because she's ready. I don't know, like one of the adult males on the trip, he actually told Brett, she looks like she gonna hurt you, and I'm gonna put my money on her over you, because I've grown up watching how you are, and she gonna win. All my money's gonna go on her side, not anywhere on yours, which is a little bit ironic because of certain similarities in reference to Rob Castle from New Jersey. So I don't really need that. So there were several aspects in regards to the Ohio Habitat for Humanity, which some of it kind of like made some of the other adults that were there a little bit nervous. And not in a bad way. It was just they were like, oh my God, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I'm helping. So a bunch of the people, not all of them, but a bunch of the teenagers that went to the Habitat for Humanity thing from Rickle Pick were, oh, it's hot. And it's like, this is not hot. This is not hot weather. It's not hot. I don't understand. Why are you complaining? And so they didn't want to do, work. They were just like, it's too hot. I'm too good for this. I'm going to go do that. I was like, you call me a snob? Really? Really? So a bunch of the adults, I was like, hey, can I actually like help instead of the complaining I'm seeing from them? And they're like, oh, you could go and pick up the nails and bring the nails over. And it's like, I could pick up something heavier than that. I mean, I'm not trying to be like rude, but here to actually help, not, stand around. And so one of the adult males, he was just kind of like, okay, well, if you think you're so strong, and I'm like, think. I mean, I'm not taking that as a challenge. I know what I can do. And he was like, okay. So before the banister thing, he goes, why don't you, go help put some of the mulch into the wheelbarrow? Oh, is that all? I helped my biological father build a 5-car garage. I moved wheelbarrows with concrete bags in them. So, and they were towered up real high. So, but okay, mulch. You got a bunch like dumped over here and just got to dig it into the wheelbarrow. It's not bags of mulch. Okay. I'm pretty sure I can handle digging from the pile of the mulch to put it in the wheelbarrow in comparison to moving bags of concrete stacked and piled in a wheelbarrow to the point where the wheelbarrow tire was like almost riding on the rim but full of air. So okay, I think I could do that. And he goes, well, if you could do that, then I guess we might be able to find some actual work for you. All right. All right. You want me to tell you a real quick story before I go do that, since apparently the wheelbarrow thing with the bags of concrete are not good enough for you? And he was like, sure, go ahead, little lady. Now, I did smoke back then. And so I pulled out a pack of cigarettes and I'm just like, all right, well, this is an e-cigarette, obviously. I'm like, let me tell you a story. And the guy was like, okay, how old are you? You don't need to know. That's none of your business. So, one day, many, not so many moons ago, a guy lit up his cigarette, and I'm just like, okay. I went to the church that's on Church Road, and Pastor Brody and Pastor Brody's wife had set up this obstacle course. And one of the adults that was at Ricklepick goes, wait, where? You know Pastor Brody? I'm like, yeah, you might know this story, and you can, if you don't know it, you can go verify it. And so they're just like, okay. So I have like this group of males, and they're all just kind of, they're all much older than me. They're like, okay, go ahead. And I'm like, so this obstacle course, it had a whole bunch of tires, like, you know, the football training where you have the tires all set up. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right. And then there was these areas with balance beams, and they made zigzags and all sorts of it. Okay. And then there were these logs and all this. Okay. Like, so we all got a potato sack. Everybody that was a child and teenager got a potato sack. Okay. We all had to run through the race. There was enough of like the tires that like all of the kids had their own 2 spots that they could run in the thing and all that sort of stuff. Okay. Did that in one on the first one. Like I had to wait for like 3 minutes before any of the other kids finished that obstacle course. Okay. They're like, all right. The one guy who knew who Pastor Brody was like, oh my God, you're her. And I'm like, yeah, you know this story. He's like, yes. Oh my God. And so I go, so then like afterwards, have you ever seen those circular concrete blocks that are about this tall and about that wide? And they're like, yeah, you use that for this, you do that for this, yeah, the pillar type thing, yeah. Well, one was thrown in the potato sack. You had to go through the obstacle course again, over and over and over again. Each time they put more cylinder blocks, one at a time. But then some of the moms started complaining because, Susan's winning. So Pastor Brody got tired of hearing everybody complain, and so he put, like, he had a bunch of the adults put like 10 in at once, where everybody else got 1. And the guys were like, okay. And I still won the race. That time I had to wait like 10 to 15 minutes for the freaking first person to cross the finish line. And the one guy's like, oh my God, you're her. I'm like, yes, hi. What's going on? It's me. Surprise. Hi. And the guys that are listening, they're all like, so you do what? Yeah. And then, a bunch of people just gave up. A bunch of people tried to cheat, and then they got called out for it. And then, I had the best time each time. I finished it each time, and I had the most amount. And do you know how much those things weigh? And it's not a rhetorical question, because I actually have no idea how much those weigh. And they're like, they're heavy. They're really, really heavy. Well, I think, and so in reference to you being like, yeah, go move some mulch that's not in a bag. So in comparison to the mulch, those concrete cylinders are a little bit more weight, right? Yeah. Those concrete bags, a little bit more weight than like mulch being thrown into a wheelbarrow? Yeah. Okay. I think I might be able to handle that. I'm pretty certain that I'm pretty certain I can move the mulch and then like take the wheelbarrow and then dump it out. And how many wheelbarrows do I have to do before I can actually like complete the work? And they were just like, um, well, um, come on, let me know so that way like I can actually build something. You mind? The one guy's like, I don't think she needs to do the wheelbarrow thing. I think that we can like just have her do. And they're like, the other guys were like, no, you're just saying that. And he's like, no, I know. Oh my God, no, I know. So they were like, okay, if you can complete, and they thought they were slick. They thought they were slick. They were like, if you can, finish moving a wheelbarrow full of mulch that you shovel in there in 10 minutes, we'll let you help build stuff. Okay. One more story. You want one more story? Okay, sure, go ahead. All right, so in 8th grade, how old are you? I'm a junior in high school. I don't remember how old I was. I said it then. I had this project in woodworking class, and the wood shop, like everybody had to build a frame, and it had to be like weight proportionate and all this sort of stuff, and like math or whatever. And long story short, I beat the wood shop teacher record by like 50 pounds. So I think I can build stuff. But okay, 10 minutes? 10 minutes? I only got 10 minutes. I only had 10 minutes to fill up this wheelbarrow. It wasn't even like a commercial size wheelbarrow. It was one of the residential ones. I got you. 5 minutes later, I had already finished filling the wheelbarrow to my height in mulch, and then took it to where they wanted, dumped it out, smoothed it out, and I was like, all right, can I build stuff now? Is it okay? Did I prove myself to be able to be good enough to build stuff? I mean, I think wood like is a little bit less in weight than that wheelbarrow. I think I can handle it. I think I'll be good. And the most like chauvinistic guy was like, yeah, no, it's cool. You're, oh my God. Yeah, no, it's cool. You can, I'm going to see, well, I don't know if you can handle the weight of a banister. Looking at the mulch that I had moved by myself. Yeah, sure, I think I can. But whatever. Okay. Where's the banister? Over there. Okay. All right, where's it gotta go? Oh my God, you are holding that with one hand. Yeah. Where's it go? I mean, if we're gonna like sit, and I can put it down, but like, I already picked it up, so where's this thing go? Okay. So like by the end of that week, had done a whole bunch. Then wind up, the treat was to go to Wisconsin and, go to the lake house that somebody of the church was like, you can, stay there, da da da. Well, they had, nobody wanted to go, this made no sense to me. Nobody wanted to go swimming in the lake, but they wanted to go water skiing. Oh, okay. Sure. You don't want to go swim? You don't want to go swim? No, ew. Why would you want to go swimming in the lake? But you want to go water skiing? Like, what's the deal? What? Like, why am I the one being looked at like I'm stupid? I'm not trying to be mean, but you guys are like, ew, no, swimming in the lake, but water skiing. Okay, sure. Whatever. So they only had like one set of water skis, and put the water skis on. They were too big for my feet, but did whatever. And I guess like some of the males were like, "Oh, she won't be able to do this. Like we've been water skiing for whatever, and blah 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 blah. We go out to the lake all the time, and blah 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 blah." And then a bunch of the females were like, "Oh, you're so funny." And it's like, you don't want to go swimming in the lake, but you want to go water skiing. All right, whatever, fine. We'll get to do both. And I did, by technicalities. So I have no idea how many lakes, or I don't have any idea of how many houses were on that lake. But I'm like, yeah, more than one. I have no idea what lake it was. Whatever the lake is that's, near Wisconsin. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be rude when I say that. I know I was told at the time. I just don't remember. It's been a day or two since that time. So so get on the water skis and like hold the little triangle thingamabob and with the rope, and the boat goes, and just, okay, is this all this is? Does not seem nearly as difficult as everybody just said it was going to be. But, all right, whatever. And then one water ski flies off. It's like, oh, okay, so... And then the other water ski flies on. I'm like, tickles my okay. And then, go down to my knees because there was a wake, and it's like, oh, it tickles my legs. And then, hit another wake, and then land on my hips, and it's the only time I wore a bikini in like a natural body of water, and try to go and catch it, and no, did not catch it. I felt it go through my fingers, and so then, because nobody had a towel and nobody would like give me their shirt. Like there were males on the freaking boat who had shirts. There were females on the boats who had shirts. No, and the females had bathing suits underneath their shirts. Nobody was willing to give me like anything to cover up, and I'm like, yeah, I don't believe there are none of you who aren't gonna look. I do not believe it. I'm not getting out of the water, so I'll do it if I have to, like at the house, but I would hope that if I have to yell, somebody will get me a towel and be respectful. So, like, then they, like, follow me with the boat as I'm swimming. And I'm just like, oh, get me a towel. Like, all you have to, why are you, and we were, like, for people who know how to do water ski, I don't know how, like, far out you have to go to be able to do the water ski thing, but it is what it is. And it's just, I'm swimming. And then, because they were like, just get out. No, okay, fine. So then I went under the water and I just took off. And then, I pop up and then, take off. And, then they kind of sped up to where I was. And they're like, hey, how'd you get here so fast? I'm like, because you won't get me a towel. And I'm not going to friggin' tread water, until I'm going to make it from wherever it is in this part of the lake. Like, that's the way to the house? Yes, okay, well, I'm going to go that way toward the house. And somebody can get me a friggin' towel. Right? You are just, go back under the water. Mind you, I probably yelled, so there might have been some people who heard me. Hi, that was me. I did not have this hair color or cut at that time. It was to here. And dark brown. Probably about a little bit darker than that. And I mean, hi. You found me. Yep, you found me. But anyway, so wound up getting a towel and then got on the boat. And by then it was like, really, like, what took you so long? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but I mean, I swam from wherever to, and you know, fine, whatever. Get out, get on the boat. And it was not even a minute and a half before being back at the dock. And it's like, really? Yeah. So I have a little experience swimming and stuff. And so I still to this day don't believe nobody would look. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. So then, Brett just did not accept no for an answer. Like for me, he tried following me into the shower. It was ridiculous. I was like, stop. Get the memo. And then after literally going to Wisconsin and that whole thing, the only time I ever got in the water up until a certain point was in a shower, a bath, or a pool. And then my cousins, Kate and Allie, who are my Aunt Edith's daughters. Edith married Mark, and they wound up having 2 sons. But in order for Edith to get married to Mark in the Holy Roman Catholic Church, she had to denounce everything from her prior marriage, which included Kate and Allie, and I felt so bad for them. I was like, that. I mean, I understand there are certain aspects of religion and spirituality. At the same time, putting a child through that too, at that point, I mean, I really felt bad for Kate and Allie. It was just, I know it didn't, I spoke with both of them about it. I was like, I'm like, I don't know why, and it's not to be rude to the Pope or the Holy Roman Catholic Church. Like, a divorce is hard enough on children. I felt really bad. It was a personal thing, and then and that was Anna's, my biological mother. Her claim to wanting to move to Crystal Lake was because Edith was living there and Leonard was living there, which are 2 siblings of hers from their mom's second marriage. And then Christine Gavitt, she lived in Missouri with her husband, Brian. But Yvonne, or Aunt Yvonne, she wound up keeping the 3 children. I only remember they had 2 daughters and then Esau. And it's not to be rude, it's just the head injury thing. And then, I didn't even get to go in the ocean. I was so upset, like, before moving to Illinois, my biological parents, biological sister, so there was the Disney World or Disneyland thing in Florida because of the handbell choir. Did not get to go swimming in the ocean once during that time. But got to deal with, going on It's a Small World ride multiple times per day. Because I am. I would guesstimate there are people who work at Disney that song, it's just over and over and over. And then there was a point where the ride broke, and I was like, can we just get out and like walk? And no, you have to stay here because you're like, there was one guy, he was literally walking by. I'm like, why is it okay for you to walk? I mean, like, if it's barely up to your ankles, it's not fair that we have to sit in here. Like, we can't leave. Oh, you don't know how many times I've been on this ride. Don't know. You don't understand. Like, you can work here, I get it. But, like, you know, I've been on this ride so many times. Multiple times a day, please. Please don't make me sit here. And I had to sit there for, I think it took like 3.5 hours before that ride was fixed. I looked, at the time, I looked over to my biological father. I'm like, hey, like, if like somebody fell out and got stuck, like, in between the tracks or whatever, like, can they at least turn off the song? Can they at least make that stop? I'm so tired of hearing this song. Like, could they hand out headphones? Could they do something where we don't have to hear the song? And even he was like, yeah, no. And so, like, it wound up working out because, like, I was only, throughout the whole week, I was only allowed to pick one ride. One ride. Yeah, I got that. Trisha got to pick every ride. And then, you know, so Anna, my biological mother, goes, so what ride do you want to go on? You know, and, you know, you have to have one of us with you. I'm like, I know he's going to want to go. I know he's going to go with me. I know Dad's going to go with me. And she was like, yeah, well, why do you think that? I want to go on Space Mountain. And she was like, oh, yeah, no. Finally a ride I could, like, and it was obviously after being stuck on It's a Small World over and over and that whole thing. So we get it, and the whole, like, time in the line, we're talking and everything like that. And I'm just like, I don't know why your wife likes that ride. It's so annoying. Like, I actually kind of hope the line takes longer. So that way we don't have to go on It's a Small World again before we leave. Like, it would be great. It would be... And ironically, it worked out that way. Because by the time we go through the ride, the Space Mountain with the lights out and the flashing and all that, we get out. Anna and Patricia, and we're just like, it was a great ride, yes, and there was and they're just like, we're tired. Oh, and I look at them and I'm like, so we don't have to go on It's a Small World again. And they were so upset. I was like, we can leave. Yay. I told my scuba diver instructor, like, she owned the shop, that because she was like, I really like Disney World or Disneyland or Disney, like, I'm not trying to be rude, just whatever one is in Florida. And I'm like, yeah, so I told her that story, and she was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah. And so, like, it's cool that some people like that. I kind of have, I don't think anybody would blame me for not necessarily not liking Disney. And that's not it. I like Disney. I just because I was telling her about the trip I was planning for my children and my niece, And she was like, "Oh, are you gonna go to Disney?" Absolutely not. that memory did not leave after my head injury. It is like not gonna. No, not just because of that ride though, but because I don't want to get lost, and I know I will. And I would have 3 children with me, and I don't want to get lost. And I get lost easily. So. But Patricia was so upset. Oh, and then like the one of the rides that she picked that was actually kind of cool was a haunted house ride. I don't remember what it was called, but like they did the hologram thing, and so like go through the you're in the little thing on the track and the chair, and it does whatever, and Patricia, on her side, she has like this older guy kind of looking over her, and I was sitting like this, and when in front of the mirror, there was this little baby with like teepees. I'm like, oh no, it's kind of funny because I got that tattoo and it kind of looks like the teepees. And it opened its mouth and had these like type teeth, and it's so cute. Look at you, oh. And Patricia was just, it's like, you wanted to go on a haunted house ride. What did you expect? Flowers and sugar fairy gumdrops? Do you even know what fairies can do? And, she was completely freaked out by the whole thing. Get out of the ride, and this guy runs up to where Patricia and I were, and he's like, "What did you do?" And Patricia goes, "You kind of look like the guy that was there." And he was like, "What did you do? Like, that was never in any of the something or something, something." And I'm like, "I don't know. If you like work on the ride thing, like, shouldn't you know how it works?" I'm trying to be rude. He was like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know what happened. I was just sitting there, and that's what, the little thing did." It's a better ride than, like, It's a Small World. Just saying. And he goes, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You don't know how many times they had to." And by that time, and it was only like day 2, and he was just like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah, oh, security cameras, you've seen that sort of stuff." And he's like, like, "Yeah, that's that, yeah. You recognize that?" And he was just like, "Oh my God, yeah, so, you know how many times I've been on that road." And there's gonna be more. I don't want to. Please. I don't want to go on that ride again. I'm gonna have to though, because we're here for a week. Like, feel pity. Please have mercy. Ironically, I did say, "Can the ride break?" I was meaning, I guess I should have used my words correctly. Could the ride break and I not have to ride on it, and I not be in the middle of the ride? What happens? But so yeah. So, but I didn't do anything to electronic equipment. And that's what that boils down to. So, on page 120, before going into the next section, that's been my experience of, like, in a brief way, in volume 1 of the Adventures of Susan MeeLing, Scuba Diver Extraordinaire, chapters 1 through 4 by Reverend Susan MeeLing. Just the background on my experiences. for swimming before my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. Because after Illinois, once I graduated high school, like I annoyed my biological parents until I could get emancipated, so that way I could finally go into the military. Because I tried to at Mast. I knew it wasn't like the exact military, but it was a naval academy, so at least like that was a starting point. But anyway, like, share, subscribe to my channel, and you guys have a good one.